The cold wind hit Jan's face as he steered his small canal boat through the quiet night streets of Amsterdam. The city was almost empty. The usual sounds of laughter and music seemed gone, replaced by the soft splash of water against the boat. Suddenly, something dark floated near the side of the canal. Jan slowed down. It was a small briefcase, locked tight, bobbing up and down in the cold water. Jan frowned. He should leave it alone. Who knew what trouble that case could bring? But curiosity pushed him forward. He reached out and grabbed the briefcase carefully. It was heavy and wet. He looked around. No one was there. The streets were dark, and the lamps cast long shadows on the old brick buildings. Better get this out of the water, Jan said to himself. The briefcase wasn't his problem, but it was there now. He tied the case to the deck and continued his slow trip along the canal. What should he do next? He had no idea who owned it or why it was floating in the canal. Jan thought about calling the police, but something inside him stopped the thought. Maybe it was fear, or the strange feeling that this briefcase had a story, a dangerous one. Later, when Jan docked near Prinsengracht, he sat in the small cabin of the boat and examined the briefcase. The lock was old, but strong. His fingers brushed the cold metal. When he tried to open it, the case did not move. No surprise there. It was locked tight. Jan remembered a locksmith he knew nearby, an old man who sometimes helped with small repairs. He decided to visit him. Maybe tonight, no one else would ask questions. Maybe he could find out what was inside without bringing trouble. The locksmith's shop was on a narrow side street. The lamps inside gave a soft, warm light. Jan knocked gently on the door. "Jan, what brings you here this late?" the locksmith asked, surprised. "I found this in the canal. Can you open it?" Jan said, holding the wet briefcase. The locksmith took it and smiled thinly. He sat down at his bench. "Looks like a tough one. Wait here." Minutes passed. Jan watched the man's hands move quickly and carefully. The tools clicked and scraped against the metal. Finally, with a soft sound, the case opened. Inside was not what Jan expected. No money, no papers. Instead, there was a small wooden box and a folded letter. The locksmith lifted the box carefully. Inside was a single photograph. Jan's heart jumped. The photograph showed a young girl, maybe 8 years old. She was smiling at the camera. Her eyes were bright and happy, but there was something written on the back in red ink. "Read this," the locksmith said quietly, handing Jan the letter. Jan unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was hurried but clear. "If you are reading this, I am probably dead. My name is Detective Marek Vanderberg. I discovered something terrible. Children are disappearing from Amsterdam, not just running away. They are being taken. The girl in the photograph is my daughter. She disappeared 3 months ago." Jan's hands began to shake. He continued reading. "I found out who is taking them. It is someone the city trusts, someone with power. I cannot go to my colleagues because I don't know who else is involved. The briefcase contains proof. Look under the photograph." Jan lifted the photograph. Underneath was a small memory card and another piece of paper with names and dates. His eyes moved down the list. All children, all missing, all from different parts of Amsterdam. At the bottom of the list was an address, a warehouse near the port. Suddenly, the locksmith's face changed. His eyes became cold and hard. "You made a big mistake, Jan," he said quietly. Jan stepped back. "What do you mean? You helped me open this." "I didn't tell you everything." The locksmith smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Detective Vanderberg came to me too, 3 months ago. He wanted me to hide something for him." The locksmith reached under his bench and pulled out a gun. "He never came back for it, and now you have found what he was trying to protect." Jan's blood ran cold. "You killed him." "Not me directly, but I made a phone call. Some people pay very well for information about nosy detectives." Jan looked at the photograph of the little girl. Her innocent smile seemed to stare back at him. How many other children were missing? How many families were suffering? What do you want? Jan asked. Give me the memory card. Forget you ever saw this briefcase. Go back to your quiet life on the canals. Jan's mind raced. He thought about Detective Vanderberg, a father looking for his missing daughter, a man who died trying to save children. And if I don't? The locksmith's finger moved closer to the trigger. Then you will join the detective. Jan pretended to reach for the memory card. Instead, he grabbed the heavy briefcase and swung it hard at the locksmith. The man fell backward, the gun sliding across the floor. Jan grabbed the photograph, the memory card, and the letter. He ran out of the shop and back to his boat. Behind him, he could hear the locksmith shouting into his phone. They got away. Find the boat captain. Now. Jan started his boat and moved quickly through the dark canals. He had to get to the police station. But which officers could he trust? The detective's letter said someone with power was involved. As he steered through the narrow waterways, Jan heard the sound of engines behind him. Fast boats were following him. Their lights cut through the darkness like angry eyes. He turned into a smaller canal, hoping to lose them in the maze of Amsterdam's waterways. The buildings on both sides seemed to press closer together. The sound of the engines grew louder. Jan reached for his phone. He would call the newspaper or television. Someone who could tell the whole city what was happening. But before he could dial, a speedboat appeared in front of him. It blocked his path completely. A man stepped out. He was well-dressed, with silver hair and cold eyes. Jan recognized him from the newspapers. It was Councilman Henrik Voss, one of Amsterdam's most respected politicians. Captain Jan, Voss said calmly, you have something that belongs to me. Jan held the memory card tightly in his hand. This belongs to the families of missing children. Those children are safe. They are in a better place now. What kind of better place? Voss smiled the same cold smile as the locksmith. Somewhere their talents can be properly used. Some people pay very well for young, healthy workers. Workers who don't ask questions. Jan felt sick. You're selling children. I'm providing a service. Amsterdam has too many homeless children anyway. No one misses them. Detective Vanderberg missed his daughter. The detective was a problem. Problems get solved. Jan looked around. He was trapped between two boats. The dark water reflected the lights from the buildings above. Somewhere in this beautiful city, children were being held against their will. Families were crying for sons and daughters who would never come home. Give me the memory card, Captain. Make this easy for yourself. Jan thought about the little girl in the photograph, her bright, trusting eyes. He thought about Detective Vanderberg, who died trying to save her. He held up the memory card. You want this? Very much. Jan smiled grimly. Then you can dive for it. He threw the memory card high into the air. It landed in the dark water with a small splash and disappeared beneath the surface. Voss's face turned red with anger. You fool! Do you know what you have done? I hope I've saved some children. You've signed your own death sentence. But Jan was already diving into the cold canal water. The shock of the cold took his breath away, but he swam hard toward the narrow space under a bridge. Behind him, he heard shouting and the sound of bullets hitting the water. He made it to the other side of the bridge and climbed out, shivering and wet. His phone was ruined by the water, but he remembered something. There was a police station just 2 blocks away. Jan ran through the empty streets, his wet clothes making him even colder. When he reached the police station, he banged on the door with both fists. Help! I need help! Children are missing. A young officer opened the door. Sir, calm down. What's happening? Councilman Voss. He's taking children, selling them. Detective Vanderberg was investigating. The officer's eyes became alert. Detective Vanderberg? He's been missing for months. He's dead. Voss killed him. There's proof in the canal. More officers came to the door. Jan told them everything. About the briefcase, the photograph, the memory card, the warehouse address. We'll investigate immediately, the senior officer said. But first, we need to get you somewhere safe. 3 hours later, police divers found the memory card in the canal. The information on it led them to the warehouse near the port. Inside, they found 12 children, ages 6 to 14, all alive, all scared, but safe. Councilman Henrik Voss was arrested at his home. The locksmith was found dead in his shop, apparently killed by Voss to keep him quiet. Jan sat in the police station, drinking hot coffee and watching the news reports on television. The story was spreading across the country. Families were being reunited with their children, but one family would never be complete again. Detective Vanderberg's daughter was not among the children in the warehouse. "We're still looking for her," the officer told Jan. "Thanks to you, we'll never stop looking." Jan returned to his boat as the sun rose over Amsterdam, knowing that some darkness would always remain hidden beneath the city's beautiful surface. The end.